Today we will be taking a good hard look at one of the most popular entry-level printers currently available, the Elegoo Mars 3. The first 4K mono LCD 3D printer from Elegoo that boasts some pretty decent numbers, but it would have to with some stiff competition out there. So the question is, at roughly 500 Australian bucks at the time of recording this, is it really worth the dollary dues? The freedom pennies, the Kiwi coins, etc.? Let's see the numbers. First of all, I am in no way paid by anyone. I have no relationship with Elegoo beyond the fact I own some of their printers. Paid for out of my own pocket and purchased by the good people at fashion3d.com.au. At a really good price, I might add. And another company I also have no further affiliation with, other than being a customer. But I will leave a link to their website in the description if you are in Australia or New Zealand and want a good deal. Having said that, if you're watching this, Elegoo, holler at me. So you're new to 3D printing, or you want to add something to your collection that is as close to click and forget as you can get, well, this certainly is a good place to start. The Mars 3 ticks all the important boxes it needs to for Windows shoppers looking to list out their options before diving in. Monochrome 4K screen for those sexy details, a reliably decent print speed, an improved build volume compared to its predecessor, the Mars 2, which by the way is a 2K printer and also still worth its cost in my opinion, and a bunch of fancy words around light bulbs and a bunch of other stuff that basically mean they are good enough to get you clean prints. Elegoo says you also get the usual suspects in the box, along with the printer, the instruction manual, some paper filter funnels, a pair of handy pliers, which is great considering Frozen don't give them to you when you spend nearly $900 on their Sonic Mighty, a horribly unreliable USB stick, a plastic scraper which, while usable, is best being replaced by something a little better considering it's going near your FEP sheets, gloves, and some leveling paper. Interestingly, I didn't get the leveling paper with mine. Instead, I found 4 disposable masks instead, which I think is better anyway, so bonus there. So that is enough to get this printer on the maybe list. Now let's look at some of the finer details while enjoying the sweet, soothing print time lapses of gigantic fantasy dragons with Spartan knight riders ready to deliver the gods' justice to the forces of darkness. For the tech heads out there, the Mars 3 is capable of printing layers at a thickness of anywhere between 0.01 and 0.2 millimeters, with layer times as low as 1.5 to 3 seconds, and boasts a relatively healthy z-axis accuracy of 0.00125 millimeters, or as we call it in Australia, the pimple on the nipple of a sandfly's tit. The build volume comes in at 5.64 inches by 3.52 inches to a height of 6.89 inches. Its connectivity source is a USB port located both conveniently and inconveniently at the front of the printer, more on this later. Takes up bugger all space on your desk at less than 9 inch by 9 inches and only weighs as much as a decent brisket, about 5.2 kilos. This fancy boy isn't packing much length or girth when it comes to its front touchscreen, coming in at just 3.5 inches. It might not satisfy those that need more, but like they say, size isn't everything, and it still gets the job done. In fact, I found it was easy to read, simple to navigate, and really you spend 20 seconds pushing stuff and then the rest of the work is handled by the printer anyway. Setup on this is simple out of the box. Just follow the simple to read instructions and you'll be fine. It's literally just 4 steps and you're printing. So what about software? Well, this one is one of the downsides, but also has a positive to it. Your new Elegoo Mars 3 will use Box. Now, those that have been around for a while know it's not the most loved piece of software out there, but upon purchasing the Mars 3, your printer will also come with a year's subscription to Box Pro, which is a vast improvement as far as capabilities go. I haven't had many issues with the Pro version other than it crashing when opening a few files at once, and that was only a couple of times. It's taken nearly 2 hours to repair a model once that I know should have been done in a minute or two, but overall the Pro version is better. You are able to repair models with issues, have more flexibility around all of your settings, preparations, and most of all, it has the word Pro in it, which is great for amateurs like me. Seriously though, it's not hard to navigate. The menus and languages are all in logical and understandable places and easy to read for the most part, and once you've done it the first time, it's like riding a bike. Box Pro is actually not bad at all, and touch wood, I haven't had a failed file on mine thus far. So the last question really is, does it print good stuff? Well, I'm happy to report that yes, the stuff is in fact good. Here are a few files from the Gamut collection that I've recently printed, and of course, a baby Yodelorian for good measure. Now, all these are printed on the Mars 3 using Anycubic's professional resin, standard grey. Don't let the name fool you, this is their cheapest resin and is also available from Fashion 3D, which is the most affordable I was able to find in Australia at under 34 per litre. My layer height is set to the default 0.05mm, and I've got 6 base layers set at 28 seconds exposure time per layer, with every layer thereafter at 2.8 seconds. I've even used Tutor Box Pro to hollow out the bases to save me some resin. The average print time was between 3.5 and 4.5 hours for the infantry and mounted models and dragons, while the bases printed in roughly 2 hours, give or take a few minutes. While I wasn't able to print as much at once as I could on, say, my Frozen Sonic Mighty 4K, the speed at which this prints is more than sufficient to get them done in smaller batches, but even then I was still able to fit 5 infantry models or 2 mounted models on at a time, which definitely got the job done great. The dragons were printed as a whole model with the exception of the wings of course, so don't let the appearance of the plate size fool you, there is still plenty of room to work with this printer. The detail is more than alright. For tabletop gaming, Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, or in the case of the little Yodalorian, a display piece for your cabinet. My closing thoughts, well, I am loving this printer. It has been a reliable workhorse for the most of 2022 so far, picking up the slack of a broken Sonic Mighty, and I have little to complain about. You do get a USB stick with the printer that is about as useful as a wet fart in public, so swap that out when you get the chance. And about that USB-B port location, it's great that it's on the front, it's just not great that it's on the front right next to the buttons, increasing your chance to knock it, killing your print or damaging a port. A simple fix to this though is to simply save your port the wear and tear and get yourself a $5 USB extender cable. Other than that, it's a solid all-round printer, and the 4K details squished into this little unit means I'm rarely ever finding anything to complain about when pulling prints off the plate. So is it the absolute best 3D printer on the market today, creating the most detailed, perfect prints? No. Is it trying to be? No. Does it produce beautifully detailed and intricate prints compared to other printers in its league, fit for purpose and a very reasonable price point? Hell yeah it does, and hell yeah it is. Good work, Elegoo. I am interested to read your thoughts on the matter though, so please leave your questions and comments below and I'll be sure to check them out and get back to you. That's all for now, bugger off and leave me alone.